Hello, thought and welcome to a presentation from Ballygar Tidy Towns. Ballygar, a walking hub, is a report on the potential for welcoming visitors and local people to step out and enjoy the beautiful countryside in our area. So here we are, Ballygar, a rural settlement. This is a map of the Ireland Way. Ballygar is proudly located in this midpoint position. The trail follows the Bearna Breifne Way from Castletown Bear at the tip of Kerry up through the rural heartlands. It crosses the border at Black Lion and joins the Ulster Way to reach Ballycastle on the Antrim coastline. For the intrepid hiker today, the Ireland Way is a feat of 1,000 kilometres. For tourism, it markets Ireland on the world stage as a destination for long-distance walking and hiking. This study is 90% funded by the EU Leader programme run by Galway Rural Development. Remaining funding and resourcing is provided by Ballygar Tidy Towns. The starting point for all of these plans has been a commitment to making Ballygar an inclusive place. Access for all is a human right. Not being able to go for a walk, whether it's a mobility limitation or a mental barrier, is a huge disadvantage. Creating access for all is much more than an individual freedom. It means that a family group or a bunch of friends can ramble along together. Access for all benefits all of the community. Levels of vitamin D have been identified as a significant component of the good health that helps people to overcome disease, and that's especially relevant to the current pandemic crisis. Our plans are also motivated by a fierce desire to help our community thrive. The study brief was designed to ensure we found ways to boost opportunities for local business. Tourism was worth over €7.3 billion to the economy in 2019. There are existing trails, and our goal is to integrate these trails, fill the gaps, and ensure Ballygar is not a passing place, but a destination. This is where the Suck Valley Way starts and ends. To the east, the trail brings you through Lishin Taig Bog, down to lovely Mount Talbot, crossing the River Suck, along the river through Arity and Rookwood, and into Athleague. The Hymany Way is Slí Imania, a trail through the O'Kelly lands that starts just outside of Ballygar in the medieval graveyard of Killeroran and tracks across the bogs of Trihill onto Ballinasloe and the River Shannon in Portumna. Quelcha have also developed a series of trails in Aughrain Forest that guide the walker along the old paths of the Castle Kelly estate. So why do we need a feasibility study? A fair question. Why don't we just get on with it? The first funding application was in January 2018 for physical works, but with the advice of the Galway Rural Development Office, we recognised that our overall ambitions for a walking hub needed a study to set up the project. Our goal for the study is to be part of the Fáilte Ireland International Marketing of Ireland as a walking destination. That means we have to comply with excellence in walking standards, meet our obligations in environmental regulations, and ensure that our trails are attractive and interesting. A study gives us credibility with funders. It shows that we have secured expertise and knowledge to make the best plans. But most of all, it is the means by which we promote our plans for the walking hub. These paths are much more than a set of coordinates. This is about creating spaces for relaxation and reflection, for experiencing an intense relationship with our natural surroundings, and a place to slow down time. Further to a tender process, Deirdre Black Associates, DBA, were appointed. The team was led by Deirdre Black, a landscape architect and noted heritage and tourism professional. Team members were Damien O'Tuma, route planner and mobilities expert, and Gerard Donoghue, an ecologist based with the Moore Group in Galway. This now is an overview of the report produced by them. Their overall approach was to examine our area in the context of the new Bearna Breifne Way that was launched in 2018. It is a physical and imaginative recreation of the heroic march of O'Sullivan Beara from the Battle of Kinsale to the lands of his O'Donnell kinsmen in Donegal through the harsh winterscape of December 1601. Millions of years ago, the shifting earth pushed up layers of red sandstone. Later, the forests collapsed to create our boglands. A ridge of this old red sandstone sits proud of surrounding lowlands, starting north of Newbridge near Cloonkeen. It follows a northeast orientation through Kappa, Bogons, Cloonshivna, Kilclaw to its high point on Mount Mary, Slieve Moray, then onwards passing crags until it eventually peters out near Castlecoot. This is called the Fairnacht Formation. O'Sullivan Beara and his 3,000 followers crossed the Shannon near Portumna, an ordeal made possible in craft fabricated with the hides of slaughtered animals. They trudged up through inhospitable boglands and then, without a drone or Google map or any ordnance survey data, they headed towards the Fairnacht Formation, the higher ground. Records tell us that O'Sullivan crossed the River Suck below Muckinya towards Mount Talbot and camped on Mount Mary before heading northwards to the safer territory. This is the journey you can reimagine now when you walk along the Bearna Breifne Way. An assessment was undertaken to see how we fit with the market segmentation undertaken by Fáilte Ireland. Research has determined that visitors are defined by three main categories: the culturally curious, social energizers, and the great escapers. The conclusion is that our particular strengths are in the cultural and social spheres as a place of welcome and authentic character. This identity fits with our place as one of the 9 friendly towns of the Suck Valley Way. DBA proposes that the Ballygar area can become a key staging post on the Bearna Breifne Way. The overall theme for promoting the attraction of walking in the area is poetry of place. This is a theme that draws together the physical experience of the landscape in terms of water, land and sky, the distinctive visual impact of the area as a designed town, and the magic, really, of discovering the past in revealed traces of mythology and folklore. As the slide shows, there are many, many stories, ballads, facts and pishrogues to tell. Our task is to present these in a narrative and visual form that will be inviting and rewarding. The proposed walks are therefore designed around remaining true to our environmental credentials. And generously inviting people, and I mean of course our own local community as well as visitors, to move around the town and, it may be the unexpected or the familiar, be drawn into conversation or observation that can only be enjoyed more with a refreshment or to sit down in one of our local establishments, or perhaps a time for peaceful reflection in our beautiful church after being lost in the landscape. In Japan, it was noticed that their forest wardens showed higher levels of happiness and resilience. They created this word, Shinrin-yoku, meaning forest bathing, a sense of being enveloped in the green aura of the trees, a space that nurtures deep thinking. Initial ideas on routes were adapted to take account of regulations and protected areas. Our boglands and water bodies are designated areas of scientific interest and natural heritage. The Suck River Callows is listed by the EU for its internationally important breeding grounds. The parish of Newbridge and Ballygar, traditionally known as Killeroran and Killeroran, has a rich history of settlement and society. Buildings, artefacts and sites are recorded in the National Monuments Register. Valuable finds are held elsewhere. A gold fibula, that's a neck ornament, was unearthed on the Castle Kelly estate in the 19th century, and more recently a Bronze Age sword was found in the River Suck near Muckinaw. These are held in the National Museum. Taking into account all of these things, practicalities and possibilities, the work of the study team was to identify a set of ways on the ground that can be used as a blueprint, effectively join the dots. After the fieldwork, the surveys, the knowledge gained from community meetings, a series of looped walks were identified as best designed fit with an overall aim of ensuring that Ballygar could fully avail of its strategic location on the Ireland Way. This image shows how the long-distance walker will be guided into the town from the extended Hymany Way, and then, after exploring the town on looped trails, will continue onto the Suck Valley Way. So these are the individual walks proposed. Firstly, Shoelodge Raftery is a walk from the centre of town, starting at the bandstand, and celebrates the nature poem Baile Nua, written by the poet Raftery. This will be a Class 1 trail, that is the highest mobility standard, and will ensure that all our community and visitors are welcomed to explore and enjoy our area. The walk will follow the Old Bog Road behind the former National School and loop around to return by way of the Tidy Towns cottage garden into the Diamond. Walkers can then either go further onto the Suck Valley Way or return to the starting point. The Long Back Way will also be a Class 1 trail that explores historic Ballygar. The images show the present-day lane kept in impeccable order and the original layout on a 6-inch Cassini map. The textures of materials, varying roof lines, and the narrowing perspective all create quite a theatrical space, the functional conspiring with the evocative, echoes of the past mingling with present-day encounters. On Baile Nua, a path from the medieval graveyard of Killeroran into the market town along a historic raised bog trail, bringing the Hymany Trail into the staging post. Important narratives of the abandoned village and the tragedy of earlier people evicted and destitute in the Beggar's Field. Walking through these historic places ensure that the brave people who endured these injustices are not forgotten. For the visitor, these compelling stories resonate with contemporary accounts of flight and loss. This central loop encircles and intersects the urban core. It links across the other trails to offer a number of options in distance and experience. Starting from the diamond, the walk can be followed along the Parson's path that's partly on the modern Roselawn Drive and across to a boreen passing the lost village to the old forge. The options then are to return by the Killeroran road or go along the Pound Road to the Town Hall, site of an earlier penal church, and then past the plaque marking the birthplace of renowned bandmaster Patrick Sarsfield Gilmore. Key to developing this trail will be creating a safe zone for pedestrians and overcoming the obstacles with vehicles. To progress these proposals, DBA have produced an accompanying development plan. This is a plan that provides a design framework to meet standards of excellence. For example, in order to promote Shoelodge Raftery as an accessible route, the path must meet the requirements of the National Trails Class 1 standard. To ensure that Fáilte Ireland will recognise Ballygar as a key staging post on the Bearna Breifne Way, our links from the town to the Hymany Way and the Suck Valley Way must meet the Class 3 or Class 4 National Trails standard. The development plan provides guidance on securing approvals from regulators, model agreements to satisfy arrangements with landowners, and outline schedules for path maintenance and ecologically informed management plans. So, what are our next steps? The arrival fallacy is a term coined to explain the realization you experience when you get a job done. Then you realize you haven't arrived at the end of a task, but are at the start of the next one. So now it is on to securing funding, discussions on land access, developing partnerships with our council, Coillte and other bodies, promoting our plans and potential with Fáilte Ireland, and keeping in touch and engaged with our local community. We need to hear from you and to have your support for these plans. Email us on ballygartt@gmail.com, or you can message me, Margaret Hannigan-Popp, on the Ballygar Ecoculture Facebook page. And I hope you have enjoyed the presentation. The full report can be sent if requested by email. A copy will be made available in Ballygar Library. Thank you, and slán go fóill.